Hulk Hogan. If you haven't heard the news recently, Mr. Hogan sadly passed away last week, and with the flurry of news reports coming out about his life, I heard in passing that Hogan actually released some music during his professional career. I think most wrestling fans have probably heard something of his Hulk Rules album released in the 90s, which actually reached number 12 on the Billboard's Kids charts. But in looking into his musical career, the first piece of music that I stumbled upon was much lesser known, and it's a 1983 extended play titled Ichiban. And I have to say, Ichiban is probably the most curious and odd piece of art that mankind has ever created. I'm going to start off with some backstory on this EP because you're definitely going to need it. Also, I'd like to point out that I never really got into pro wrestling, so I was kind of learning about all this on the fly. But before Hogan's rise to fame in the wrestling sphere, he attended the University of South Florida, where he actually took up music as his first interest and played bass in a band called Ruckus. I couldn't find any recordings of them playing, and here's the only picture I could dig up, but at least it shows that Hogan has somewhat of a background in music, and actually he got a lot of his contacts in the wrestling industry from doing gigs with Ruckus. After Hogan's rise to prominence in the late 70s, he began appearing overseas in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he became a huge hit with the Japanese fandom and was nicknamed Ichiban, meaning number one in Japanese. And during his stint in Japan, Hulk Hogan started a band called Hulk Hogan and Ich Band. Yes, you read that correctly. He took his nickname Ichiban and turned it into Ich Band, which sounds more like Jock Itch Cream than an actual band name. The inner mechanisms of that man's mind are an enigma. Hulk Hogan and Ich Band only ever released one EP in 1983, but what does this music sound like, you ask? Well, let's pop on the first song, Ichiban, by Hulk Hogan and Ich Band. All right, let's give this a try. Okay, sounds like helicopter propellers and a really loud synth. Okay, I'm seeing the vision a little bit.
Accent boom bomb is your fate. Just one axe and it's too late. Ants in the giant and the bushes too. Mercy, from Tokyo to Rocket Free.
I don't quite know what I was expecting of Hulk Hogan's singing voice, but the midway point between Waluigi and Jar Jar Binks, it caught me off guard a little bit. There is very, very sparse information on this EP. It's not even mentioned on his Wikipedia page. I honestly believe he was trying to do a Japanese accent of some kind on this. So the first song is entirely just Hulk Hogan number one. The chorus is the shittiest earworm I've ever heard in my life. Ichiban is Hogan-san, Hogan is number one. At some point in the song, he even states that Hogan is our rising sun.
Hogan is our rising sun.
Which, like who greenlit that idea? So Hulk Hogan is credited with vocals and bass on this album, and while his vocals are interesting, to say the least, he does have some bass chops. The second song on this album, Night Home, is just an instrumental that reminds me of what they would faintly play inside of a country club. I'm not sure what instrument is making that high-pitched noise, but it does kind of hurt my ears. The third track, You've Gotta Leave, is a synth pop funk mix. It's just a song about like saying bye to his friends, and yes, he still has the Japanese Jar Jar Waluigi voice.
Got to leave, got to say goodbye for now. Won't be long till I see you guys again.
To be honest, the instrumentation in this one's actually kind of sick. It's kind of nice. So again, I was never into pro wrestling, so I'm going off research here, but Hogan's signature move in the U.S. was the leg drop. He would just jump up in the air and use the backside of his knee to like slam down on the opponent's neck. But while touring in Japan, for some reason, he changed it to the axe bomber, where he slammed the backside of his elbow into the guy's neck. And I don't know what this guy has against necks. The fourth and last song on this album is called Axe Bomber, but for some reason he pronounces it the Axie Boomba.
Rock and roll, Axie Boomba will knock you down to the ground.
He basically just says rock and roll axia boomba a bunch of times and declares that it is also number 1. And that is the entirety of the 11-minute EP. It is one of the worst pieces of music that has ever been created. But at the same time, it is also one of the greatest pieces of music ever created. It's the audio equivalent of watching The Room, and I just wish there was more details about the thought process behind this. If I were to guess, I bet Hogan just told someone he wanted to make music, and for some reason, someone in Japan just made it happen. What we do know about this album is that it was made under the Warner Brothers label and released only in Japan in 1983, which is probably why literally no one in America has ever heard this. It was produced by Char, I think that's how it's pronounced, who is considered one of the greatest Japanese guitarists of all time and has released almost 20 albums. I've listened to a little bit of him and the guy is legit. I have no idea how or why he is on or producing this thing.
I'm going down to shoot my old lady. You know, I've got her messing around.
And that's pretty much all the information that I have. This album is a 1 out of 10, but it is a 1 out of 10 that I would recommend every single person watching this spends 11 minutes listening to. But yeah, I just wanted to share my experience listening to Hulk Hogan's Japanese album. If you like watching this, then go ahead and check out my other videos. Go subscribe, go to my Tyler Childers video and tell me how stupid I am, because the comment section's a little mean on that one.